The 19th of February, 1900, Volume 3, The Century of Pride. Jesus wants the hearts of souls all for himself. This morning, my adorable Jesus came and transported me outside of myself, and I could see many people all in motion. I cannot tell with certainty, but there seemed to be a war or a revolution, and they did nothing but braid crowns of thorns for our Lord. So much so that while I was all intent on removing one, they would drive a more painful one into his head. Ah, yes, it really seemed that this century of ours will be known for its pride. The greatest misfortune is to lose one's head, because once the head with the brain is lost, all the other members become disabled, or they become one's own enemies and the enemies of others. So it happens that when a person gives vent to all other vices, my patient Jesus tolerated all those crowns of thorns, and I hardly had the time to remove them. Then he turned to them and said, "You will die, some in war, some in jail, and some from earthquakes. Only few of you will be left. Pride has formed the course of the actions of your lives, and pride will give you death." After this, blessed Jesus pulled me away from those people, and as he became a baby, I carried him in my arms to let him rest. Asking me for a refreshment, he wanted to suckle from me. Fearing that it might be the devil, I signed him with the cross several times, and then I said to him, "If you really are Jesus, let us recite the Hail Mary to our Queen Mama together." And Jesus recited the first part, and I the Holy Mary. Then he himself wanted to recite the Our Father. Oh, how touching his praying was. It was so moving that my heart seemed to liquefy. Then he added, "Daughter, unlike others, I had my life from the heart. And this is one reason why I am all heart for soul, and I am inclined to want the heart. And I tolerate not even a shadow of what is not mine. So between you and me, I want everything distinctly for myself, and that which you will concede to creatures will be nothing but the overflow of our love." End of the reading. The 19th of February, 1902, Volume 4. The soul is like a canvas which receives the portrait of the divine image. As I was in my usual state, my adorable Jesus made himself seen in my interior, sleeping, spreading many rays of golden light from himself. I was content to see him, but also discontent for not being able to hear the sweetness and gentleness of his creative voice. Then, after much waiting, he returned to let himself be seen, and seeing my discontent, he told me, "My daughter, in my public ministry, the use of my voice is necessary so as to make myself understood. But in my private ministry, my presence alone is enough for everything. In fact, seeing me and understanding the harmony of my virtues in order to copy them within oneself is all the same. So the attention of the soul must be on seeing me and on conforming to the interior operations of the word in everything. Because when I draw the soul to myself, it can be said that at least for a time in which I keep her in my presence, she lives divine life. My light is like the brush with which to paint. My virtues provide the different colours, and the soul is like a canvas, receiving the portrait of the divine image within herself. It happens as to those high bridges. The higher they are, the deeper beneath them does a pouring rain fall. In the same way, before my presence, the soul puts herself in the place befitting to her, that is, at the bottom, in her nothingness, so much so as to feel herself being destroyed. And the divinity pours grace in torrents upon her and reaches the point of submerging her within itself. Therefore, she must be content with everything, content if I speak, content if I do not speak. While he was saying this, I felt myself as though being submerged in God, and then I found myself inside myself. End of the reading. The 19th of February, 1913, Volume 11. The divine will is like opium for the soul. The creature does nothing other than want Jesus to do everything in her. Continuing in my usual state, and having received Holy Communion, my always adorable Jesus told me, "My daughter, my will is like opium to the body. The poor patients who have to go an operation, the severing of one leg or one arm, are put to sleep with the opium. With it they will not feel the sharpness of the pain, and after they wake up they will find themselves with the result of the accomplished operation. If they haven't suffered too much, it is thanks to the opium. Such is my will, the opium of the soul, which puts to sleep the intelligence, the love of self, and the self-esteem, everything that is human. The opium of my will does not allow displeasure, slander, suffering, or a state of interior pain to penetrate deeply into her because it keeps her as if asleep. But with this, the soul still finds herself with the same effects and the same merits, even more. Oh, how much she surpasses them, just as if she had deeply felt that suffering, but with this difference. Opium for the body has to be purchased and cannot be used often or every day. And if a person wanted to overuse it, he would become dazed, especially if he is of weak constitution. On the other hand, I give the opium of my will gratis. It can be taken at any moment. The more often the soul takes it, the more light of reason she acquires, and if she is weak, she acquires divine strength. After this, I seemed to see people around me, and I said to Jesus, "Who are they?" And Jesus, "They are the ones whom I entrusted to you some time ago. I commend them to you. Watch over them. I would like to form this bond of union between you in order to have them always around me." And he pointed out to me one in particular, and I, yes. Have you forgotten about my misery and nothingness and the extreme need I have? What shall I do? And Jesus, "My daughter, you will not do anything, just as you've never done anything. I will speak and operate within you, and I will speak through your mouth. If you only want it so, and if there is a good disposition in them, I will offer myself for everything. Even if I should keep you asleep in my will, I will wake you up when necessary, and I will let you speak to them. I will delight more in hearing you speak about my will, both in vigil and in sleep." End of the reading. The 19th of February, 1927, Volume 20. Jesus invites Luisa to fight. Just as Jesus fights through his knowledges, through his examples, through his teachings, the soul fights by receiving them and by following the acts of his will in creation and redemption. I was following my flight in the divine fiat, and my sweet Jesus made himself seen coming out from within my interior, braiding his hands together with mine, inviting me to fight with him. But I was so very little, and I did not feel capable and strong to fight with him. Or so, since a voice came out with a light which said, "She is too little. How can she win this fight?" And Jesus answered, "It is exactly because she is little, that she can win. because all the strength is in littleness. I was discouraged, nor did I dare to fight with Jesus. And he, inciting me to fight, told me, "My daughter, courage, try. If you win, you will win the kingdom of my will. Nor should you stop because you are little. In fact, I have placed all the strength of created things at your disposal. So together with you, fight all the strength contained in the heavens, in the sun, in the water, in the wind, in the sea. All of them wage battle against me. They do it with me to make me surrender the kingdom of the divine fiat. And they do it with the creatures, with the weapons which each created thing has in its power, to make them surrender into recognizing my will, so that creatures may let it rain as they themselves let it rain. Wanting to win, they have all placed themselves as though in order for battle. And in seeing that the creatures resist, wanting to win by force, because they have with them the strength of that will which animates them and dominates them, with the weapons they possess, they knock down peoples and cities with such authority that no one can resist them. You cannot comprehend all of the strength and power that all the elements contain. It is such that if my will did not keep them restrained continuously, the battle would be so fierce that they would make a heap of the earth. Now their strength is also yours. Therefore you go around in their midst to put them in order for battle. Let your acts, your continuous asking for the kingdom of the supreme fiat, call all creation to attention. And my will, moving within it, places all of its acts in royal office in order to give and to win its kingdom in the midst of creatures. It is my volition itself that fights, that wages battle against my very will for the triumph of its kingdom. So your fight is animated by it, whose strength is sufficient and irresistible in order to win. Therefore, please fight and you will win. And then to fight in order to win the kingdom of the supreme fiat is the holiest fight that can exist. It is the most just and rightful battle that can be fought. This is so true that my will itself, when it formed the creation, began this battle and this fight. And only then will it surrender, when it wins completely. But do you want to know when you fight with me and I with you? I fight when I manifest to you the knowledges about my eternal fiat. So each saying, each knowledge, each simile about it is one fight and one battle that I make with you in order to win your will, put it at its place created by us, and call it, almost by dint of fighting, into the order of the kingdom of my divine will. And as I do it with you in order to subdue your will, I start it in the midst of creatures. I fight with you when I teach you the path which you must follow, what you have to do in order to live in my kingdom, and the happiness, the joys you will possess. In sum, I fight by dint of light, which my knowledges contain. I fight by dint of love, and by the most touching examples, in such a way that you cannot resist my fight. I fight by means of promises of endless happiness and joy. My fight is persistent, nor do I ever become tired. But to win what? Your will, and in yours, those who will recognize mine in order to live in my kingdom. And you fight with me when you receive my knowledges, and placing them in order in your soul, you form the kingdom of my supreme fiat in you. And fighting against me, you try to win my kingdom. Each one of your acts done in my will is a fight that you make with me. In each round you do throughout all created things to unite yourself to all the acts my will does in all creation. You call all creation to wage battle. in order to win my kingdom, moving my very will, dominating in all created things, to wage battle against my will itself, in order to establish its kingdom. This is why in these times the wind, the water, the sea, the earth, the heavens are all in motion more than ever, waging battle against the creatures as new phenomena occur. And how many more will occur, destroying peoples and cities? Because in battles it is necessary to dispose oneself to suffer losses, and many times also on the part of the winner. There have never been conquests of kingdoms without battle, and if there have been, they have not lasted. You fight with me when investing everything I did and suffered in my humanity, that is, my tears, my most intimate pains, my prayers, my steps, my words, and even the drops of my blood. You impress on them your I love you, and for each one of my acts, you ask for the coming of the kingdom of my supreme fiat. Who can tell you of the fight you make with me? You move my very acts to wage battle against me, that I may surrender and grant you my kingdom. Therefore, I fight with you, and you fight with me. This fight is necessary to you in order to win my kingdom, and to me in order to win your will, and to begin the battle in the midst of creatures, so as to establish the kingdom of my supreme will. I have my own will, and all of its very power, strength, and immensity in order to win. You have my will itself, and all creation, and all the goods I did in redemption at your disposal, in order to launch a formidable army to wage battle and win the kingdom of the supreme fiat. See, each word you write is also a fight that you make against me. One more soldier that joins the army, which must win the kingdom of my will. Therefore be attentive, my daughter, for these are times of fighting, and it is necessary to use all means in order to win. End of the reading. There are no more readings today.